There comes a moment in life when you walk out of a classroom, not realizing that you have just left a system that taught you how to pass exam, how to follow instructions, and how to memorize information. But now, how to truly understand the world, not how to think independently, and not how to build a life that actually reflects your potential. Because school, for the most part, prepares you to answer questions, but life demands that you ask better ones. Most people confuse education with learning, believing that once they finish school, they are done, as if knowledge has any ending point, as if growth has a limit, and as if life can be lived successfully using only what was taught inside a classroom. But real learning does not end with a certificate. It begins when you realize that what you know is not enough, and that realization is the start of transformation. School creates an illusion, a false sense of compression, where people believe that once they graduate, they are prepared for life. Yet the moment reality begins to challenge them with uncertainty, responsibility, and complexity, they realize something uncomfortable. They know how to study, but they don't know how to live. In school, you are rewarded for remembering information, for repeating what was taught, for following a structure that has already been defined for you. But outside, the world rewards something different: creativity, adaptability, problem solving, decision making, and these skills are rarely taught directly. After school, learning becomes your responsibility, meaning no one is forcing you anymore. No one is guarding you. No one is grading you. No one is telling you what to do next, which can feel freeing, but also dangerous. Because without direction, many people stop learning completely, and that is where they fall behind. There is a gap between what you learned in school and what life actually requires. School teaches theory, life tests application. School gives structured problem, life gives unpredictable challenges, and bridging that gap is where real learning happens. After school, your greatest teacher is no longer a person standing in front of a class, but the experiences you go through, the mistakes you make, the risks you take, and the situation that forces you to grow in a way you never expected. Because experience teaches what information cannot. In school, failure is something you avoid, something that lowers your grade, something that feels negative. But in real life, failure is a feedback. It shows you what doesn't work, it forces you to adjust, and it teaches lessons that success never could. One of the biggest differences is this: in school, you are told what to learn. After school, you choose, and that choice defines your future, because what you choose to learn shapes who you become. People who continue to grow after school have one thing in common: curiosity. They ask questions, they explore ideas, they seek understanding, and that curiosity becomes their advantage. In school, structure is given: schedules, timetables, deadlines. But after schools, you must create your own, and without discipline, nothing moves. A degree can open doors, but skills keep them open. Communication, thinking, execution, and these skills are built outside the classroom. After school, learning becomes deeper. You don't just learn about subjects, you learn about yourself, what you like, what you don't, what you're good at, and that awareness changes everything. No one is responsible anymore. Not your teacher, not your system, you. And that responsibility is both power and pressure. Real learning begins when you stop waiting to be taught and start choosing to learn. After school, something changes. No teacher, no timetable, no one forcing you, just you. And that's where most people stop growing. Because freedom without discipline becomes distraction. Life after school is simple. You either keep running or you drift. No middle ground. You grow or you stay the same. And staying the same in changing the world is falling behind. The most successful people never stopped learning, not because they had to, but because they choose to. They read, they observe, they practice every day, and slowly they become different. Today, everything is available. Books, videos, knowledge, all around you. But here is the truth. Access is not the problem. Discipline is. You can watch videos all day, read books all night, but if you don't apply, nothing changes. Knowledge without action is entertainment. Real learning requires movement. Knowing is not enough. Doing is. Skills matter. Communication, thinking, execution, and these are built through practice, not theory. Growth is not easy. It feels strange. It feels hard. It feels uncomfortable. But that discomfort is a sign you are improving. You don't need to do everything at once. You need to do something every day. Small effort repeated again and again. That's how change happened. What you watch matters. What you listen to matters. What you read matters, because your mind becomes what you feed it. Motivation is temporary. It becomes and it goes, but discipline stays. Do the work anyway, even when you don't feel like it. Life is teaching you every day, through problems, through mistakes, through experience, but only if you pay attention. No excuses, no blame, no waiting. If you don't learn, no one loses except you. Not just educated people, learners, people who adapt, people who improve, people who keep growing. Those are the ones who win. Imagine yourself skilled, confident, focused, not because of school, but because of what you choose after it. That version of you is built daily. So listen carefully. School gave you information, but life gives you opportunity to learn more, to become more, to build more. But only if you choose it. You don't stop, don't settle, don't think you are done, because real learning starts now. And one day you will look back and realize your life didn't change because of what you were taught. It changed because of what you chose to learn.